Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson, regular creator that we react to here in the Black Box on occasion. I was sliding through the YouTube streets and seeing he had a title that involved two of my partners, Poetic Flacco, Tyreek Nasheed. He had somebody with some tears on their face, and it was like the title said, Poetic Flacco did never think Tyreek Nasheed could be this brutal or this savage. And I'm like, damn, I hate to see, people that I'm cool with clash. However, it seems to have happened. And with no further ado, I thought it'd be cool to see what these two, according to O'Shea Duke Jackson, have been up to. So let's check it out.
All throughout May, people have been debating about Chud the Builder. And this was before he got locked up for. The debates have been happening all across social media platforms, but in particular, these debates have been happening on X. But most importantly, these debates have occurred between two popular content creators, Sneako and DJ Akademiks. They've had a series of debates about the issue. Sneako defending Chud the Builder's right to use the N-word.
I was just going to say, it's crazy that any sane, logical individual believes that there's something to debate here. The fact that there is actually something to debate just accentuates the hate that Americans have for us from back then up until of late. Oh, my mama.
With DJ Akademiks taking the opposite position. And while these debates were cordial, it came to a point where things started getting a little heated.
Like, your opinion, you should say, hey, I don't identify with the Black plight at all. So when these guys are saying what Chud the Builder is doing is hurtful or is disrespectful or offensive, I'm going to stay out of this one. Because even though I have 1/8 drop of blood in me that's Black, I can't identify with it no more. That's all you got to say. Stick with Palestine.
So although Akademiks is a Jamaican American, he understands that somebody like Chud the Builder would see him no different. So he's including himself in all of the Black issues.
But that's where even this Pan-African concept, that's where it originates from. Them bunching us all up in one, all of y'all. And diversity is a beautiful thing. It's not something to run from or shy away from. It's our differences that make us dynamic as a community. They say, oh, I'll just clump them up in one, and that's Black, and it's no good. That's what they deemed us. That's what they considered us. And that just seems to me to mirror Pan-Africanism.
When Sneako heard what Akademiks said, he said this.
If Akademiks is telling me to stop speaking on Black folks, bro, you could just tell them stop speaking on Americans, go back to Jamaica,
Bomboka!
Why are you speaking about American issues? Chud the Builder, this is an American issue. I think you should talk about Jamaican issues. You're not from America. Speak on your country. Speak on Oxford.
That's an unintelligent argument because America is a country that's not based solely on birth. There are many, many, many migrants, immigrants that come to America and are indeed Americans. So for him to have to go there to combat whatever was said by Akademiks makes his argument disingenuous at the least. Americans that are not original, natural Americans function and make decisions, have opinions about this country all the time.
Tail. And wine. American issues, this is separate, okay? This is for FBAs, Foundational Black Americans.
Now, Sneako would use the foundational Black American argument to attempt to disarm DJ Akademiks, citing that he was from Jamaica, and if he, Sneako, couldn't speak on Black issues, neither could DJ Akademiks, who technically was born in Jamaica. Now, this brings us to Poetic Flacco, who published this video on May 25th, 2026 that says, DJ Akademiks and Sneako officially declared war on each other. And while I won't go into the details of that video, here's the part that's important.
So what Sneako does is he begins to weaponize a group of people that despise Akademiks. And who is that group of people? Well, the FBA, right? The FBA group led by Tyreek Nasheed.
Now, on the
already know right there, that's going to be a problem. I know Tyreek Nasheed is going to take umbrage with the fact not only did he use the word group, it then call him the leader, cuz that's crazy.
surface level, this doesn't necessarily seem like a diss or a bad thing because FBA is Foundational Black American. The most prominent voice of FBA is Tariq Nasheed. The term Foundational Black American was created by Tariq Nasheed. Most of the merchandise or organization of events using hashtag FBA or Foundational Black American, for the most part, to my knowledge, is associated with Tariq Nasheed. So then, how is there beef? Now, Tariq Nasheed is a very polarizing figure, with a lot of people not liking him at all. And that brings us to a content creator called FD Signifier. Now, FD Signifier also has another channel in which he posts regularly called FD Streams. And on April 16th, 2026, FD Streams, who also has a serious problem with hashtag FBA, created a video called America First Will Never Include Black People. Of course, this video would take shot at some of the anti or quote anti-African rhetoric that hashtag FBA has, including Tariq Nasheed himself. And again, no harm, no foul. So where does Poetic Flacco come into this? Now, Poetic Flacco is hitting it out the park right now. He typically covers hip hop as a genre. He would wait until April 22nd, 2026, and he would make a video called Really Bad News for Tariq Nasheed.
Damn.
And interestingly enough, he would start off the video saying this.
FD Signifier just went crazy, crashed out, and unleashed on Tariq Nasheed. Now, watching this video, I was torn because on one hand, I'm African. So for clear and obvious reasons, you could see why I would be rooting in favor of FD Signifiers and Cam James ideology. But then on the other hand, I'm friends with Tariq Nasheed, if y'all even think that's possible.
Now, this is a very interesting take for Poetic Flacco, and I can tell you why. Number one, he says, I'm kind of stuck in between two opinions because on one hand, you know, FD Signifier is defending Africans such as myself, but then at the same time, I'm a good friend of Tariq Nasheed. Well, I would push back on that because number one, Poetic Flacco named the video Really Bad News for Tariq Nasheed. Now, the reality was it wasn't really bad news for Tariq Nasheed. So if you title a video Really Bad News for Tariq Nasheed, unless you're trolling, it almost insinuates that you believe that whoever is claiming or alleging something against Tariq Nasheed has already won the moral argument.
Well, that may be the case in general, but I know from experience, Flacco will have a title leading you to believe he's taking a certain position. And then when you get inside the video, he throw you for a whole loop, and he's basically taking the exact opposite position. Oh, my mama, look, academics right there. This is bad. And academics is his friendly. When, mind you, when he goes into that video, he's not shitting on academics. So it's not necessarily how it happens every time.
So when I look at that or somebody else sees that, it's obvious that you two are not friends at all. Because if Tariq Nasheed was your friend, it would seem like you would, yeah, it seems like you might call him and say, hey, I want to make this video or something like that. But I don't really think that this happened. But then Poetic Flacco would take a little bit of umbrage towards FBA by saying this.
But then they say, tether hairline. Oh, tether babble. Tether this, tether that, right? Like you wouldn't say tether hairline if it was not a racial slur, right? If it was a description for somebody who come here and cosplay as a Black American, then like you would use it as it's defined. The minute you start to use it outside of the actual definition and description, it then becomes a racial slur because you're using it to dehumanize somebody.
Poetic Flacco is in the hip hop genre, which is dominated by, you know, a lot of people in the foundational Black American community. And in some of his commentary that might be offensive to
Goddamn,
foundational Black Americans.
What I was
He
just
typically
saying is, I don't understand how adding a descriptive word to when you already describing some type of behavior, activity that you do not respect, appreciate, and then while you're calling it out, you notice somebody's fat. So you say, oh, you fat tether, or another thing about them that you see as negative. Just I don't understand how that makes it then racial. If you accept the tether word for whatever reasons that you accept it, Flacco, hairline don't make it racial. That's extremely sensitive, technical, and out of context.
is called a tether, and he doesn't feel that that's fair for other people. So there he is in this video already showing some level of concern from the dehumanizing speech, according to him, towards Africans such as himself. But he would also say something else in this video.
FD made some pretty strong declarations during this video. He will label and declare Tariq Nasheed's group, FBA, as white supremacist and blackface. He would even make a comparison between FBA and Trump's MAGA.
Again, he's calling this Tariq Nasheed's group. Okay? He's saying it again. So it's the second time that he said that.
Flacco
now,
better.
The first time, Tariq Nasheed didn't respond. That was in April. But by May, the Sneako Academics video that was done not too many days ago on May 25th, this got Tariq Nasheed upset. And once Tariq Nasheed decided to get upset, there is going to be a level of pettiness that came along with this. And what do I mean? Tariq Nasheed would post, "What's with Flacco going out of his way to disparage our..."
He finna start calling Flacco Lil Bucci. You know, Brandon is Bucci Bear. He gonna start calling Flacco Lil Bucci.
Foundational Black American lineage lately. And then he would post a photo of Poetic Flacco that resembles the original picture of Sarah Bartman, the Hottentot Venus, where she had this like really big ass, and you know, the white men were taking her all around the world, showing it off. And he put Poetic Flacco in that same photo. And the way that we know that is because it says underneath this post, "Made with AI." Got him! Now, at first, people would get into the comments, and you would say, "Flacco is an enemy and is salty, mad about a lot of things. I've heard him throwing subliminal shots at FBA. His channel on YouTube keeps popping up in my timeline when I scroll, so I'll be watching some of his videos. You are right about Flacco." Then Tariq would say, "He's deliberately framing FBA as a group and deliberately lying about me being the leader. That is denigrating our lineage." So now we're understanding what the problem is from Tariq. It may not necessarily be that he disagrees with some of the rhetoric that Flacco is having, although I think that he definitely disagrees with that. But he is saying that, number one, you're calling me the leader, and that's denigrating our lineage because our lineage existed before me, but I just gave it a different name. That's what he's saying. Then Kaiju came in and says, "Flacco never disparaged FBA. If you're going to grift, at least share the full context of the video." He's saying that Sneako was weaponizing the FBA community, even though Sneako is not an FBA, which is definitely true. I can agree to that. Now, guess who came in the chat? Poetic Flacco shows up in the chat. He says, "Tariq Nasheed, I think you're just looking for a beef, Tariq. I didn't disparage anything. The full context of this video was the irony of Sneako, who has criticized you in the past, is now trying to use FBA, which many attribute to you, to go against academics. This is just a flat out lie." Tariq Nasheed will respond, "You have sat with me multiple times, and you know good and well that FBA is not a group, and you know that I'm not the leader of Foundational Black Americans. You deliberately said that as a diss to the lineage." So the question was, could I find any evidence that Tariq Nasheed has explained this to Poetic Flacco And is there proof?
Rewind.
So it is true that Poetic Flacco and Tariq Nasheed have at least sat together on camera one time. I know that they have probably recorded more than once, but this video for me was good enough. Okay. Now, Poetic Flacco is sitting right across from Tariq Nasheed. When Poetic Flacco is going to ask about the trademark directly to Tariq Nasheed.
Flacco face looked like he's listening with something loaded up. Like, okay, say what you got to say. I can't wait to respond and say what I'm finna say. You ain't ready for the next question. That's how Flacco looks.
In front of Adam 22. And what happens?
Now, I personally don't care, but they were saying that the FBA, that the Foundation Black American trademark got abandoned, open floor,
We clearly hear what Flacco's question is. Who owns the trademark to FBA? Flacco said, hey, listen, I had to ask you this question, but here's why. Tariq said,
we still got the FBA trademark, and it's for clothes. So you can't
Gotcha.
Because you can't trademark a lineage. You can't say this lineage. You can't trademark Puerto Rican as a lineage. So we have different products and we have different events under the name FBA. So there's different ways you can trademark it. You have to trademark different.
If you don't do something of that nature, trust and believe there will be a white man somewhere that does so and be selling you items associated with your lineage. Shout out for Tariq Nasheed for putting some type of insurance around that. That was extremely intelligent. They already established as soon as Juneteenth began to be something, all in the supermarkets, anything that was branded Juneteenth for you to go and purchase, none of it was made by blacks.
Different things.
So Tariq says, listen, it's for clothes and some of the other things that we do, but you cannot trademark a lineage, just like you can't trademark Puerto Rican as a lineage. So we have different products and different events under the name FBA. So there's different ways you can trademark it. You have to trademark different things. So yeah, Poetic Flacco.
Anyone else notice how that pin top matches Flacco's shorts? And then if you look right above Vladim's head, I see another hint of that color again, I believe. Yeah, if you can't see, I love color coordination.
Obviously seems to understand what he's saying. He's agreeing. So you can imply that if he understands what he's saying about you can't trademark Puerto Rican as a lineage, if FBA is a lineage like Puerto Ricans, then there is no one leader of...
That is where the issue lies. They do not, FBA doesn't sound like a lineage. And I believe if anything as a challenge, I think the words chosen to describe us don't really flow as well. I think we should have went with American as a prefix and identifier as a suffix, something small. Americans, something, because that's what we indeed are. And I would put the American first, and whatever identifier we chose to follow that, we Americans, it's our shit.
Puerto Ricans by that logic, and there's not one leader of FBA. Poetic Flacco seems to understand that. He would then clarify again.
Because no matter what you do, you cannot trademark a lineage.
Of course.
You dig? You can trademark certain products. So we use the term FBA for certain events and certain products that we sell. But if somebody wanted to trademark it for something else, they could. That's not going to stop the movement because it's a lineage.
He goes back to it that other people, if they wanted to trademark it for something else, that they could, but it's not going to stop the movement because the movement also is a what? It's a lineage. Now, at a certain point earlier in the video, Tariq Nasheed explains to him how he came up with the term foundational Black American.
I'd been using the term Native Black American because I got it from a man named Claude Anderson, who's been using the term Native Black American for years. And
I think we should just went American natives because they got Native Americans in this debate whether they were Native or we were Native, but they have identified under that. So we should have came with American Native or something similar that identifies us as original and put that after American, FD, a little FBA does tend to sound like a group just because of the initials. It doesn't sound like a lineage. I don't know of another. Same way there is no other lineage called purple or green like we are called black. There's no other lineage that I'm aware of that sounds as such. Foundational Black Americans. That word foundational just makes it sound like a group. It sounds corporate. Oh my mama.
When using the term Native Black American, sometimes people would get confused by that. They were like, do you mean like a Black Cherokee, a Black, Seminole? No. I said, let me change that term a little bit and call it Foundational Black American so we don't have any confusion, so people don't confuse us with Native Americans. And then
what I don't do is knock any group of people who have no idea who or exactly what they are, but realize their similarities and their differences from everyone else and taking the steps and having the courage to try to assimilate and identify themselves as something is to be applauded, even if it has to be kind of morphed into something different moving forward. Everybody watching is seeing what this lost tribe is attempting to do. So if we don't hit the home run on the first time and get it right, so what? Self-knowledge is something that's pushed, being self-aware. And as a community, we are trying to become aware of ourselves because our history was snatched and stolen from us. Now, how can you sit back and watch people go through that and then try to nitpick and discredit and tear apart their efforts? I don't believe that's right.
The movement kind of took off from there.
So Tariq Nasheed says, listen, there are other people who've had these ideas before me. He cites Mr. Norris Shelton from Louisville, Kentucky, who is the primary architect of #ADOS, Dr. Claude Anderson, who was using the term Native Black American. But Tariq Nasheed says people were getting confused from Native Black American to Native American. So he came out with #Foundation.
Drop the black, bro. There is no other people on the face of the earth that are identified by a shade of skin or a color. The black, I believe, is an issue. Foundational Americans, American natives, either or. You don't need the black. We are not black. In essence, we are brown. Why keep accepting the black that was placed upon us?
No, Black American. So he cites that there are others who came before him who have tried to do these similar things, and he's not the architect of those ideas. And he does recognize that the lineage starts before him, therefore he cannot own it. He just owns this term, and so that nobody else will own it. What it seems like that Poetic Flacco did was he accepted the decision that particular time. Once he left No Jumper, he really didn't accept Tariq Nasheed's ideology about the lineage. So then he's just started to say that Tariq Nasheed's group is X, Y, and Z. Although he had every opportunity to say, well, listen, no, I don't agree with that. I believe that it's your group. He did not say that. He said the opposite. So now that's where we are right now as far as a certain beef. Poetic Flacco, at least right now, has.
Oh, yes, that's the proof right there. O'Shea that they sat down more than once.
Not respond. I mean, I think Poetic Flacco is doing a great job as a YouTuber. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of respect for Tariq Nasheed. So I'm just seeing what's going to happen next. I do see certain levels of evidence that Tariq Nasheed had educated Poetic Flacco on this matter. It seems that Poetic Flacco rejected what he heard and just, went to his own ideology. But what do you guys think?
I think that neither of these gentlemen is going to allow this moment to become bigger than it is. There's no need to. It seems like Poetic Flacco, even in the process of offending Tariq Nasheed, displayed immense respect for him in general. And I think he's somewhat of an agitator by trade. It's kind of like how he get his money. Shout out to everybody involved. Native American natives, foundational Americans.
Get you some money, you're going to feel different.
Straight up.
You might even, all that other advice I could have gave you, this is the short version. Get you a couple dollars, man. You're going to feel different.
Next with Nip Hustle. Big shout out to SPR, Spotter Low. I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.